Hey, it's Keith. What's up? So, just a little blog type video. Hello. I hope you're well. It's August 2nd, Tuesday. It's one day before I guess, the 8th week of my blended fast. 56 days of being on a blended fast, so I've preceded this video with two recipes that I've been using. The first one has become a favorite. So I started this. Well, I do blended fast usually once a year. This one is an epic one, like I did in 2015. I did not blog the one in 2015 at all. In fact, during that whole spiritual upswing time, I didn't blog at all because I was offline. Didn't want to be online. Was just going through a big spiritual progress. Well, honestly, this time now I'm even on a bigger spiritual upswing. Or maybe the other one was more profound because I was gaining more ground. And I think there's a point, it's almost like becoming a raw vegan or starting to eat well. When you get a taste of something, it never leaves you. Yeah. So after 2015, I kind of, and that's the early part of 2015, I pretty much blended fasted for 6 months. Was one of the biggest parts of my life of not smoking any weed, which has always been a happy part of my life. Always wanted to have a good relationship with that plant. So anyways, so I went to Vipassana at the beginning of February, as you know if you've been watching my blogs. I kind of had a big psychic freak out right after coming back. That's a story unto itself. I can't remember if I mentioned it, but got all kind of spaced out. Wound up, well, I'll clarify really quickly, but I was clairvoyant when I was a little kid, got chased out of me when I went to school. We're super, super spiritual beings, everybody for the most part, until society kind of kicks it out of you or chases it out of you or whatever. So I used to pass out all the time. Used to be very visionary. I really didn't know that I was any different from any other kid, that those kind of things were sort of unique in me. Very, very high profile, which later on I found when I was in 2011 working with a psychic, which would be when I was 48. Yeah, long time. Anyways, so she said that was a really big clue to who I was, and so on and on I went through my spiritual journey. My life has been very, very spiritual since 2013, and very, 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 very spiritual since 2015. Some ups and downs, but for the most part, 2015 has always been like about 10 steps ahead, 10 steps forward, 2 steps back, kind of. Really knowing the program. So got involved with this yoga sangha, as you know my story. I'm sorry to just keep recapping, but like I don't blog so often. And then I did this Vipassana. This is my second time. I left the first one because of my kind of Leo ego, if you will. And I had this complete like freak out when I got back because I was passing out when I was, or coming near getting really lightheaded when I was getting around any spiritually plugged in people. And so I knew that pot grounded me, so after a week of dealing with that, I decided to smoke pot, and I thought I'll gather myself, and then on my 55th birthday, I will start spiritual boot camp. I will reapply for Vipassana, which I did. I'm now less than I'm like 35 days away from going to my second Vipassana. So on 2 new moons ago, so the next new moon will be Saturday coming. That's the 11th. But I am actually, the moon cycles are slightly offset or something like that. I'll be blended fasting for 8 weeks. So anyways, so I think blended fasting is far more powerful than the water fasting or other things that people do, because you can maintain it for a sustained longer time. and it doesn't immediately like engage the emotions and all the trial and error, not trial and error, but just the sort of emotional confrontation immediately, like where, because you're getting the fiber, you're getting filled up, you can eat as much as you want, you get the same effects. And I'm actually, people are surprised, but when they see what I eat, a few of my friends, I'm only pretty much around spiritual people now, with my yoga friends. And when I started that spiritual boot camp, which was in Sedona on my 55th birthday, that's when it started. My Vipassana friends, who are these guys, John and Dan, they're much, much younger than me, but total steady meditation, integrated Vipassana practice, which is 2 1-hour sits every day, which I have finally integrated into my life. I've been a month now doing that, and along with the fast is powerful. Lots of benefits. Just letting go of emotional stuff, all the things that I thought were just stuff that was like everywhere, like of just being not grounded, basically, I would say. And I think most people think of a fast of like spacing you out, but I've always been a fan of these blended fasts. And so I'm, the benefits, let me get with the immediate benefits so that my video is not spaced out. In my yoga practice, I very quickly became a really good Ashtangi with Series 1 yoga stuff, yeah? And now what happens with the blended fast, and I'm doing kind of a Khichdi blended fast, or at least that's what I'm calling it. So Khichdi in Ayurvedic medicine is a fast, or it's something that you fast on. It's beans and rice, and you do it like exactly the same. Like you put some spices and stuff in it, but you eat exactly that for the prescribed amount of time of your fast. And so that way your body knows what it's dealing with, right? And so when I hit that cabbage recipe, that's not the last one, but the one before that, the one that says best raw vegan soup ever, and it truly is. I'm so kind of addicted in a way to that. It just is so satiating. So what happens, and so my thinking is that basically with that, when you're eating the same thing all the time, your body knows how to handle it. And so what goes on with a fast, all fasts, but with a blended fast, which is putting food in a Vitamix or a Blendtec or a high-powered blender, and turning it into a cream or a savory soup, savory smoothie, whatever you want to call it. And you just consume that. And so your body doesn't have to work hard on digesting it. In fact, in the early part of my fast, I was consuming 2 full Vitamixes of that, a gallon of soup. I was getting kind of a little full, but pretty quickly, just because it's already kind of chewed up as much as it could be, so it's ready to go into your body. The whole filled up feeling goes away. You're very satiated. I didn't have to slow down with my yoga practice, and my yoga practice is very intense, as is my regular hiking practice and my just generally being an active person practice, which is in high gear now. I'm really, really, really happy about that. So in the last 4 weeks, I've gotten to where I can do some of the poses. Like there's a few poses that are like where you bind. You're only going to know that if you're a yoga person, but it puts a pose into a more intense situation. I'm able to do that, and there's a lot of advanced practitioners that cannot bind. So what's happening, and what happens on a fast, on a juice fast, if you go a couple weeks, is the body gets in there and starts cleaning up the cellular debris, just all the stuff that's floating around in your body, stuff that collects around the joints and around the ligaments, and just the debris in your body. Dr. David Jubb, I'm going to quote him, says that it's like giving factory workers a good long break to clean up the factory. So if they're just working at full bore every single day, shipping boxes are coming in that they make their products with, the empty boxes, and they're just stacking up and they're never really getting a chance to clean up the factory or whatever. It's not, the place is not running as efficient as it could if a couple days of maintenance were taken off. And so with your body, you're doing that with the blended fast. And I'm living proof of it. I don't know of anybody really documenting. Everybody gets down with these sort of, it's almost a sort of egoic thing of doing these water fasts. I don't think they're near. I think they're immediately as powerful as a blended fast. I think a blended fast is not as powerful as a water fast out the door. But the fact that you can easily go on a blended fast for 6 months, a year, there's the changes that happen over a slow, long period of time are ones that are going to stick, are ones that are going to be more, have more strength, more durability, more stamina to get things done because you're kind of out there with doing it. And I'm actually down to eating I ate a little bit more today, but for the last few days I've ate a half a Vitamix thing of that cabbage soup. And so with my Vipassana practice, the 2 1-hour sits, wow, man, like what a high. I'm just in there. So let's see, how long am I? 11:43. So anyway, so I started my blended fast around the same time that Tim Sheaf, the famous like vegan athlete, high profile kind of vegan YouTuber, started his water fast. And so I'm interested in him because he's a really spiritual guy. My whole deal has become like really spiritual. And so he was talking about like just getting into like some of the stuff he does in depth of talking about the Seeing Gospel of Peace. And particularly Ray Maher. I started following this guy on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. He's a pretty like, I'm not saying hipster in a derogatory term, but he's not like a kind of a breatharian that's like a yogi in a cave or something. He's kind of like a postmodern hippie, if you will. And I was really attracted to him with all the stuff that he had to say, of that he was just a sort of a modern person living as a breatharian, and he has that book I just showed you. And I said 2 years ago when I got back from Thailand that I was setting the goal to be living my last days of being a breatharian, of checking out of this life as a breatharian. I thought that time was a ways away, and then as I was like I was feeling that my observing Tim Sheaf and like what was going on, and that I was on a blended fast, and particularly that I was putting myself in this spiritual boot camp of like trying to keep myself grounded, because I know that the next Vipassana that I go to, which is from September 12th to September 23rd in 29 Palms at the Southern California Vipassana Center, I know that it's going to put me even further out there. And when I out there, connected, very spiritually, but grounded. Well, the grounded part is the hope that I'm going for, and of like keeping myself pretty much only around spiritual people. And that being said, that's another thing that I've really adopted, is I'm really hacking back on the non-spiritual people in my life, of just like not really having so much of an interest in them. I wish them well, but I just can't, I don't have any interest. I think there's a way when you become older that you're nostalgic about certain friends and stuff, and my life has turned into like having a realization, or it's come to the conclusion of having a realization that I'm so blessed with everything that's happened, and now I need to kick everything into the upper gear. I'm kind of really like I said, I don't think I'm young, but I'm definitely young looking, but I'm very ageless and I'm still very childlike, that I have all those things intact. And I think the way for me to celebrate these gifts that have been given to me from the universe, and of course, just looking at it from the point of view that it's my trajectory, because spiritually, there is no past, present, or future, so we're living all possibilities now. But so it is my time to start getting more serious about being a breatharian, and I'm adopting breatharian principles and of just looking into food. And I'm feeling very comfortable with what I'm doing now, of reading this book. And in the drop down, I shall link my YouTube playlist that I've been doing of Ray Maher stuff. He uploads weekly. He has whatchamacallit, like 10-day breatharian initiation courses that he does throughout the world. I would say there's a possibility that he's probably the most famous breatharian in the world. He's sort of come to a very quickly into being liked a lot, because he's really good at speaking and his prose. And yeah, he's not like a complete like weirdo, which I like. And my kind of weirdo-ness is getting tempered. Two dudes that I'm hanging out with, my two meditation friends, Vipassana friends, are very sort of double agent, very out there kind of spiritual people, but they look pretty normal, and I like that. I used to one time be like that, and then I got into this whole piercing, tattooing thing. I think I actually look pretty normal today, don't I? Except for my gauges. Anyways, let's wrap this up and just say that I'm continuing on. I love this. I'm working very slowly towards being a breatharian. I'm finding a lot of emotional addictions with food, and mine are low, but they're getting down to the nitty gritty of them. Well, for example, I just went on a week-long camping trip with my parents to Sequoia and to Kings Canyon, and I not only maintained my blended fast, I not only maintained my yoga practice, but also my 2 1-hour sits a day with them. And my parents are incredibly normal people, and that's part of the teachings of Ray Maher, is of learning to adopt your sort of oddness with food and with society tactics, if you will, just kind of going for it. And I kind of don't have a problem with it. It's kind of what I'm doing, and I think when you precede it like that, it's sort of influential to people, and they respect you in a way, and that's it really. So I think that's all I have to say. But yeah, I'm on day 56. So just so you know, the plan is that I'm continuing this blended fast right into about a few days before I go to Vipassana, because I have to eat solid food there, because they don't allow you to fast. I guess when you get more on the inner circle there, they will allow you to fast, meaning that you've got a lot of retreats under your belt and you kind of get in with the crowd there. But like when you're still, once you've completed a course, they call you an old student, but I think there's degrees of old student where you're somebody that's done like 3 or 4 courses. I'm thinking about maybe in a couple years, that might be where I do my breatharian induction, if you will. And that's basically with some dry fasting, and I will talk about that later, and how my Vipassana is the missing key. My Vipassana practice is the missing key in combination with this fast. And my life right now is the best ever that it has been, ever. And I feel very charged with the youthful sort of spirit that's always been in me, that has always been alive in me, but it has been kind of dormant. It has not been nurtured, and it's coming back in a big way, and I love it. And I'm around good, supportive people, with my yoga sangha that are doing that, and I think that that's all I have to say. So support me by supporting my music. Secondculture.bandcamp.com. That's SECONDCULTURE. That's Second Culture spelled out. .bandcamp.com. I have a new record coming out. Free downloads on there. Links in the drop down. Also in the drop down is the list of the Raymar stuff that I told you about. And just my bio. And I shall say over and out, and you have a blessed day. Infinite metta to you. Bright blessings. Namaste. It's Keith, Live Rock Star. Over and out. Peace.